All right. Good morning and welcome to another Entrepreneurial Blueprint podcast. My name is Dr. Jake Latimer. I have special guest here, Brad Hubbard from Sapphire Pools. Thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so as you know, what we do is we do a deep dive into all these different entrepreneurs in the area. We want to make sure that we're providing good content to you, things that's motivational, inspirational towards you, and hopefully you can take a few slivers and good information, a few nuggets, if you will, and apply those in your life. Please note that everybody that comes on the show here does so voluntarily. We didn't pay you. Is that correct to come on?
Absolutely right.
And so we're very blessed today to have Brad here on the show. He's going to go in through some of the pitfalls and nuances that he has went through in his journey. And hopefully you guys can relate and garner as much information as you can during this podcast today. Thank you very much for joining. So Brad, I do have to ask you, first and foremost, what got you into pool building?
I've always enjoyed swimming pools as a kid growing up.
Uh-huh.
Some of my fondest memories were spending time with my grandparents and swimming.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my kids enjoyed swimming. And so it's just fun to give somebody something or help them build something that they can enjoy in their backyard and give them years and years of enjoyment and fun and gather around. And
yeah, absolutely. And I know we kind of had some brief discussions on the front end about, this is a business that you and your wife together run together, you and Mary. And we've talked about there's a lot of similarities, and a lot of the successes you have today is because of her. And she's kind of been your rock a lot of times in these situations. How did you guys come up with the name Sapphire Pools, if you don't mind me asking that?
Believe it or not, when I was doing service, before we started Sapphire, we had a different name.
Uh-huh.
I was driving through a subdivision in Pearland and just saw the same Sapphire on a street sign.
Oh, nice.
And for whatever reason, it just clicked and said, hey, Sapphire Bay Pools. And that was the name of the road in Pearland. And how took it from there.
Nice. How many years have you been in the pool business, would you say?
Altogether, about 43 years in the pool and spa business.
43 years. And so how long have you owned Sapphire Pools now?
18 years. When we moved down here 18 years ago. We moved to this part of Texas 18 years ago and started that.
Yeah. I think you had mentioned that you guys started out in Oregon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so here's what I want everyone to understand is, so Brad just alluded to the notion of he's been in business he's been in this industry for 43 years, right?
Yes. And we had our own business in Oregon also.
Sure.
It wasn't an ideal place to be in the pool business.
Sure.
We did a lot more spa things, but Oregon's just not the place to do business.
I can't imagine it's a little cold up there, huh?
Cold and lots and lots of regulations. They don't want, regardless, that's a whole different story.
Understood. So I guess what I want people to understand from this is it's just not something, and our recommendation always is, and I think Brad would probably agree to this, is, you need to garner some experience and get your feet wet before you venture out to start your own business on your own.
Yes.
And him being in business, what'd you say, 18 years, is that right?
With Sapphire Bay.
With Sapphire Pools, but in industry for 43 years doing
Correct.
stuff. So there was some time you probably worked as a laborer and tried to understand the pool business way before you ever started then, basically.
Yes.
Yep. And I think that's very critical. And a lot of people, they think that, I just want to be an entrepreneur. I just want to be a business owner, because that's the new vibe word nowadays. It's the cool word, right? I want to be an entrepreneur, but it's tough.
Yes, it's tough. And it's, that kind of gives you the backbone to start off with. Mm-hmm. You learn the ins and outs. When you work for somebody, do the best that you can. And fortunately, I was a good worker and always got moved up into management. So I got to see the labor part of it, the management end of it, and the whole bit.
Mm-hmm. How many years did you think that you did that as a laborer, moved into management before you actually started your company? How many years total do you think that was before you said, okay, I think I'm ready now?
Probably off and on 6 years, maybe.
Okay. And then when you took that leap of faith, I know you're probably similar to a lot of other entrepreneurs out there, is you thought you had enough knowledge But when you got into it, you started running into pitfalls. Everybody does in business, right? Like you're going to go through hurdles and things that you don't think that exist as a non-entrepreneur until you actually get your feet wet and you jump in. Is that a fair assumption?
That is a fair assumption, yes. And for me, a lot of it was I didn't understand the bookkeeping side of it, the importance of that.
Yep. And so understand the financials and understand Correct. How to leverage, how to look at, do you have enough cash flow? Do you have enough money in the bank account? I'm assuming even when you're bidding your projects, right? You have to see, I'm assuming it's more of a percentage completion along the way. You get draws. Is that a fair assumption? Yeah. So you have to be able to understand cash flow and how to be able to pay your laborers and buy material and do all that kind of stuff as well.
Yes. And one thing about this business, or the pool business or the pool and spa business, it's very seasonal. And so you've got to understand that when you're making money, you need to save that money because there's going to be a slow time.
Sure.
For us, it's in the winter.
Yep.
And it might be 3, 4, 5 months where there's not much coming in, and you have to have enough set aside.
Yeah.
To make it.
And, I know this firsthand with a lot of clients we have, and we also have a roofing company as well, that when you're dealing in the construction industry, it's very few and far between where you find business owners in that industry that have the same integrity and the same character that Brad does over here at Sapphire Pools. That's why he's been around for so long, but he's got to compete with those individuals who are cutting corners. Correct. That are doing shifty things. And, let me ask you this question. How do you decipher because I know it's something we struggle with too. How do you decipher or communicate with a prospective customer or client? We're different from them. We're going to stand behind what we do. I mean, obviously you've got the years of experience, but it's a difficult conversation to make with somebody for them to go with you, right? Or that pool, because you guys do all the subcontracting in between, that pool builder to go with you versus somebody else. It's difficult to say, hey, we're going to do it right, but you've built these relationships over that time.
Yep. And how we did that was just standing behind what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
They took a chance on us, and we proved ourselves over and over. And then once you've got that relationship, then of course it's their reputation on the line also.
Yeah. Brad, I have a rule, and I think you'll like this rule, is when you find good people you do business with, you stick with those good people. Because I don't care if you're going to save $5, $10, $100. The headache and the stress by people who don't have the same integrity or the character that you do, it's just not worth it. The unknowns, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like putting an alarm system on your house. Will that alarm system save you? Maybe, maybe not. But it sure helps you sleep better at night sometimes, doesn't it?
Correct. And the pool industry is a fairly small industry. And when people ask us to do work for them, and I don't know who they are, oftentimes I'll call other pool builders, I'll call the distributors, ask how they are about paying their bills, do a little bit of background check on them before you just jump right in and say, hey, I got another job, and jump right in and you do all the work, and then you wind up not getting paid or short paid. Or
I'm sure you've had quite a few instances over that long time frame, because no matter how good a business you do, you always run across people who are going to do something shifty and stiffy in some regard.
Yeah, they try. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And not very many, but we never go back to those people.
Of course.
We learn our lesson and move on.
Yep. Was there a defining moment when you realized that this business would succeed? What year and what things stood out to you, would you say?
When we got more calls for work than what we could do. I said, oh boy.
This is probably gonna pander out and do well.
Yes.
Let me back up before that. I do want to ask you one question. Was there a time in business where you said, I don't know if I can get through this. This is a tough time right now, and whether it be cash flow, whether it be either not enough revenue was coming through, or people were slow paying, or just you were having some difficult times. Was there ever a moment that you go,
oh, many times.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah.
And at this point, getting closer to the end of my career, I hope, there's times where I think, good grief, is is it worth the grief? Is it time to just pass it on and move on? So, I mean, I don't think those thoughts ever go away.
No, you always, we talked about it earlier, and I told you that, what I do is I like to assimilate things, and the difference between an employee and a business owner is the same difference between a computer and a server. The computer might work its tail off, just like the employee might work its tail off, but it shuts down at the end of the day and then comes back the next day. The employer, or the entrepreneur in this regard, and or the server, has their highs and lows, but never shuts off. And so I think that's why people see that this is not for everybody. You got to make sure you have the right support system. I know Mary's is a huge support system, and what y'all do together. I believe anyone can do it. I believe most people won't persevere,
Right.
Because the notion out there is, and you made a comment to me earlier when I said a lot of people have this instant gratification. They want to be paid and they want the success overnight. And we talked about not having that success overnight. And you said these people are, what'd you call them? Microwave what?
Yeah, microwave workers.
Microwave workers. I love that. Because in reality, they're wanting that, that master dinner per se, right? They want that cooked in a microwave. And you realize you've got to buy the right ingredients. Right. You've got to marinate that food. You've got to prep that food. If you want that to be a Michelin star or a really nice meal, it takes time. And the same thing does for business. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Let me ask you this question. What was the biggest challenges you faced when starting Sapphire Pools, and how did you overcome that, Brad?
Probably the one of the biggest challenges was having enough capital to get things going.
Okay.
And my wife, she worked 2 jobs. There was times I worked 2 jobs until there was enough work coming in to where it would sustain itself.
Yeah.
And just getting through those tough times. And then another hard thing is at those times our kids were younger.
Yeah. That's very tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, because those kids require a lot of attention, a lot of love, and a lot of time that you have to spend with them.
Oh, yeah. And you miss out on all of those things.
You do.
And you think to yourself, good grief, is this worth it? But in the long run, actually now both my kids work for me. I see them now as adults, but I didn't see them much as they were growing up.
I think the thing that's challenging, at least from my perspective, what it was, and I'm sure by hearing what you're saying right there, was children don't oftentimes understand, right? It's hard for them to understand. Yeah. But later on in life, they understand the sacrifices that you made. It wasn't just for you, right? It was for your family. It was for them as well. Yeah. And I tell you what, it can be very dearing to your heart during that 10, 15, 20-year period until they mature enough and realize, Dad, Mom's not doing this just for themselves. It's not about just their career. They're doing this for us as well. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it's tough though, because kids will, why can't you do this? Or why you're missing this or you're missing that? And it rains on you, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does. As a matter of fact, for years in Oregon, before we moved to Texas, we had a retail store. We sold pools and spas.
Sure.
And we'd take the kids to work and they'd sit there in the store.
Yeah.
But regardless, again, in the long run, for us, it worked out.
Let me ask you this question. I know it's not one of the things we talked about, but I always say that when you're an entrepreneur, you dance to the different beat of a drummer boy. Yes. Right. I once you do this for so long as a successful entrepreneur, I don't know if I could go back and work for somebody else again. Do you think you could go work for somebody else again?
No. As a matter of fact, there was a couple times when we sold our retail store in Oregon. We had for years, and when we sold it, part of it was I had to stay there for a year to help them develop the business. Well, that year didn't come around quick enough. It was tough to do.
I bet.
And then we moved to Texas. I went to work for somebody, and realized again that I'm just not cut out to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what I want you guys to understand is it's not that you're arrogant. It's not that, it's just, you see when someone's doing things wrong in their business, and I think successful business owners are very logical creatures, right? We try to apply logic to everything that we do, right? It's got to make sense. And so when someone's asking you to do something, you're like, wait, I know a better way of doing this. You're not trying to be a know-it-all in that situation. You're just like, you've been there. You've already run that gamut, right?
Right.
And I always say that I don't care what your education is. I don't care how intelligent you are. There's nothing that replaces experience.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's just where it is.
Right.
And there's nothing, like I say, there's nothing you're going to see in a textbook that's going to, completely prepare you for the real world. I don't care how much you read up on something. I don't care how much even you listen to podcasts like this. I mean, we try to be as informative as possible. However, you got to go through your bumps and bruises in business and realize, when it's time to pivot, when it's time to adjust. And in a sense, sometimes you have to be even chameleon-like in a sense to adjust accordingly from a macro side, from a internal side, to adapt and make it in business. So when you see someone that that they're beating the pavement or they're beating the table going, this is the way it should be done. This is the way it should be done, Brad. And you're like, no, it's not. I felt that 7 years ago, but today I know that you should be doing it this way.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? Because that becomes your boss then in that situation, and you don't want to offend them. You don't want to upset them, but you just know that
there's a better way.
There's a better way.
Yeah.
And it's tough. So yeah, I get it. It's hard to work for somebody else once you've become successful in your craft.
And sometimes you have to realize people that are telling you certain ways to do certain things, they oftentimes don't see the whole picture.
Yeah.
All they see is just little bits of it. And they may question why you do things while you're working for them, why you did it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all they saw was just it's the nuances that will make it successful.
Yeah. And to capitalize on that, I always say this: theory is not reality in business. We can theorize about things, and sometimes it does play out that way, but oftentimes it does not play out that way.
Yeah. And the construction end of it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know in your business, but what I say in my business is the reason it doesn't play out is because you're dealing with human beings, right? And you're dealing with emotion, whether that be your workers, whether it be your customers. And today they might be happy about something. They might be in a good mood, and then tomorrow something happens in their personal life. And then no matter what you're a different person you're dealing with. So, you got these ebbs and flows that you have to adjust and adapt with. You can't be reactive. You have to take it in. And so that's why theory is never reality, I think, in business. And I think that people who lack that experience, they lack the ability to understand that in its fullest. They think that oftentimes business owners are arrogant in their sense they don't want to listen to anybody. It's not that we have the experience and we've went down that. So I know you might think we should be operating our business like this, but until you walk into those shoes, mm-hmm. It becomes difficult to listen to the naysayers out there. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And once you've proven yourself, I think enough times over and over, like mm-hmm. when we go to a job and we start to build the pool and things may not go as planned or the way they're not on the blueprints or whatever.
Yep.
We used to get questioned about that a lot.
Yeah.
But anymore, they say, hey, you were on site, you've done enough of this. We know the type of work that you do. And if you feel it was best to go this way, now we see why you did that. And I'm glad you did that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it took you years. of gaining that respect, right?
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people starting out don't realize the grind and everything it took before you garnered that respect to make those decisions on the fly like that.
Yeah, because a lot of entrepreneurs are egotistical.
They are.
And they don't want to hear. You got to put up with that and prove yourself.
You do.
You can't be expected to be, or you can't expect someone to take what you say as gospel until you proved yourself.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. Customer feedback, when you acquire customer feedback, how has that shaped your business over time?
Probably quite a bit, I would think. I mean, that I don't want to say we're in the service industry, but I mean, we're serving a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And if people are unhappy, then of course we wouldn't be in business.
You have to listen to your customers, okay?
Yes.
Now, with that being said, I know that there's ratios out there that say, if you have 2% complaining about something, it's not a large enough margin, right? And I understand the statistics, and me being a math guy and everything, I do, focus and listen to those things. But I think that there's something very organic about the notion of that you listen to all customer feedback. And even if it falls within that 1%, 2% range, you have to use common sense and logic, right? Mm-hmm. And not focus exclusively on the ratios and say, well, does this make logical sense to adjust my business model to adapt for that? Maybe not financially, but is it the right thing to do, right? And realize that you're probably never going to have 100% customer satisfaction. However, that's what you should always strive for in some regard.
Yes. And some of the pool builders that we work for, at the end, they send out to their customers a survey.
Uh-huh.
And of course, 5s are the best. And we consistently get 5s.
Uh-huh.
And if we don't get the 5, then they come back to us and maybe you can work on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that's why a lot of them keep using us, is because we're consistently, and it's not me. I mean, I've got fantastic managers and employees that just do an awesome job.
I love that you said that, because I can tell you this, that we as entrepreneurs are only as good as the people who work for us.
Exactly right.
And I always say this, like, when we seek out reviews, I ask for my staff in the back or even my staff in the front. I want them to go get the review. Mm-hmm. I don't want people here at this firm just here because of me. I want all of their interactions to be fantastic. And so we oftentimes ask, when you give a Google review, please mention your accountant that you're working with, because I don't want people here just because of me and they have a terrible experience with their accountant. Plus, it lets me know something. If something's not where it needs to be, and maybe it's a personality conflict, I need to adjust to another accountant, right?
Yeah.
I want people here because they're here for their overall experience and how they're treated across the board, not just with an owner.
Right. That makes sense.
To me, that's the biggest amount of success I can have, is when people are here for the business, not just for an individual. So if an individual leaves, if individual's away, I know that my customers will always be served to the greatest ability. It's not just a one-man operation at that point. Right. And so I know that your success, much like my success, is because of the people that we hire.
Yeah. And then when you do get people that make you successful, entrepreneurs oftentimes don't want to pay them.
That's a horrible idea. Yeah.
I mean, some of our guys that have worked for us for 18 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been there since day one, but we take care of them.
It's about the end game.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And I always tell people that if you're going to go into business, I'm not a big believer in side hustles. I just don't. I think if you're going to do something, you have to go all in and do it, or don't do it at all. Right? Mm-hmm. Same thing goes for a relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody, either you're with that person or you're not with that person. Right? Mm-hmm. And so the same thing, I believe, when it comes to business, if you're going to hire somebody, you don't hire them to do part-time here and there. Like, you take care of that person so they know, right, that you value them. You take care of them. And if you're looking at just to make $1 a day and don't pay your contractors to work for you, or don't pay your employees what they're due, the good people will leave.
Oh, yeah.
And then you won't have a business anymore.
Right.
And I think those individuals that operate by that model, they're not around very long. They're not around very long at all because they don't have the people. It takes an organization. It's not just one person.
Right.
And
it takes a lot of people behind the scenes.
It does. It does. Can you tell us about the most unique or maybe challenging project that you've ever worked on in your years of an entrepreneur?
Well, not only do we do residential pools, but we do some commercial work also. And the commercial work is oftentimes big apartment complexes or resorts. And we've built some really big pools that had, which may not mean anything to anybody, but I mean, they'll have 20 pumps, and literally in a trench, we have to bring out big excavation machines that dig the trenches because there'll be 60 or 70 pieces of pipe just running from the equipment room out to the pool.
Incredible.
Oh, it's amazing.
I bet.
But in the end, again, it's fun to see these big resort pools with lots of water features. And
how long did that project take you to do that one you were talking about, the 20 pumps, would you say?
Overall, it was probably 3 months, 3.5 months.
Okay. And I bet you guys were putting in some long hours during that time, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
And you know, of course, we didn't focus just on that one pool. We would work on that pool for a couple of days and then go off and do other things. Mm-hmm. And then have to come back to that pool again once they're ready for us to move on to the next step. So it was interesting. It was fun to see.
I bet. We hit on it just a moment ago about having the right staff and the right contractors and employees in place. How important would you say teamwork is in your business? And what qualities do you look for when you're bringing on either a new contractor or a new employee to work in your business, would you say?
Well, I'd say employees are probably one of the most important things in the business.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that we look for are people that once they're trained or while they're in training, you know, I want them to be able to give us feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I would like to see them take some initiative. And so somebody didn't have to stand over their shoulder the whole time and say, okay, do this now.
Right.
Do this now.
Right.
I mean, they're hustling. They're working.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, you expect them to be an adult, right? Yeah. You don't have time to micromanage every little small thing because you have to handhold all the time. It takes away from the job duties that you have to do now.
Right.
You know? So
and in our business, because we're in residence, people's backyards, they have to be people that look presentable. Yeah. And when it comes to respect of somebody's property, they're going to respect their property. If the homeowner comes out and asks questions, they're going to interact with the homeowner properly and answer their questions. So the homeowner feels good about having these people in their backyard.
Yeah, I can imagine if it's a let's just say even a pretty substantial house, the last thing you want is the people in the backyard doing work for you looking kind of shady or acting kind of shady in some regard. It doesn't make you feel too well, you know. It's a poor representation of you, you know. Mm-hmm. Can you share a story about a key team member that has been instrumental in your success?
Besides my wife?
Well, she is part of the organization. So, if you want to use her, by all means, absolutely, use Mary.
Yeah. I mean, like I've said, I wouldn't be able to do this without her. I mean, she knows things that I don't even want to know. And I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
And then she just, to put up with me, she has the patience of a saint. Because oftentimes, you know, I want to just ram things and bust down the door and keep on going.
Sure.
And so she just keeps everything going on the back end. She keeps the employees paid. She keeps track of all the paperwork. So if there's ever a discrepancy, I mean,
you guys are a team.
Yeah, she's got it all laid out.
You know, I always say you're the 5 people or 5 individuals you hang out with the most. And if you're married or if you have a significant other, whatever your situation is, one of those 5 people is that spouse or that significant other. You better choose wisely.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Like I said, we dance the different beat of a drummer boy. We're not your typical 9 to 5 person. there's ups and downs. There's ups and downs, and cash flow even comes into our household, and you have to be able to adjust with that. And it's not for the wary. So you need to choose those 5 people wisely. And same goes for your spouse. And I tell you what, that it's so comforting to have a spouse that supports you through and through, no matter what. Is what we say, your ride or die, will do anything, right? To help you, always has your back. Because if you've got a hostile situation at home, man, that's probably not the person I would say you need to go into business and become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You've got to have a supportive spouse. And even if they're not in the business, but they're handling everything else outside the business with kids and household and all of that, it's a partnership.
Yes.
It really is.
And I think it may be tougher if the person wasn't involved in the business because they don't understand. They don't understand why
they don't
having to be gone or why you're having to be on the phone instead of time. And
they don't. They might say that they do, but unless they work in the business, they don't.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is.
And there's many people who are successful while their spouses aren't in it. But the way I'm wired, it probably wouldn't have worked so well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Technology. We got a lot of new technologies coming out right now, and obviously I'm not going to ask you to speak too much on like AI and stuff like that, but it's coming downstream. It's here. How would you say technology has influenced the pool industry? And I'm sure you incorporate that with what you're doing now.
Yeah, a lot of the newer stuff is being able to operate everything on your phone through Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So you have an app on your phone, and you can turn things off and on. You can have your water tested with the water runs through a system, and it monitors it for you and then sends you alerts if you need to make changes to your water balance.
Oh, wow.
Which is nice because then things don't get out of hand.
Yeah.
So the technology in the pool industry is more to make owning a pool easier.
Yeah. For the end user.
For the end user,
right.
Correct.
Right. But for you guys, y'all have to become experts in that stuff so you can communicate that with the client.
Yeah. And what's fantastic is my son-in-law, who helps me out, we do startups and pool schools. Once a pool's built, this is part of our business. We go out and we start the pool up and then give the people a tutorial on how to operate their system.
Love that.
And how to test their water and on and on and on. And Robert, my son-in-law, thank God, he's very tech savvy. So when he shows up, he can connect things and show people everything on the app. And he goes from, well, regardless, he does a fantastic job. And I'm glad he's there because I'm not a techie guy.
I understand. No, that's awesome. And who knows what the future is going to unfold. There might be AI that makes those decisions in the future that's embedded.
That could be.
It could be. I mean, it's crazy. But it just goes to show that in any profession as an entrepreneur, the way technology is evolving, you have to evolve with it.
Yeah.
Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, that's really not up to your decision. If you want to stay in business, you have to be adaptive in nature and be able to adapt. And so you're always learning about new processes, learning about new procedures, learning about new technology that comes downstream. And I bet that that's a determining factor when someone's looking at putting a pool in. If you don't have the capabilities to, implement that technology, that's probably a decision maker. They won't go with you.
Correct. Yeah.
And so just always understand that you've got to continue to take continuing education, continue to learn your craft, because it's going to always change no matter what.
Oh, yeah. And most suppliers of equipment, they offer courses throughout the year. And it's important you go to those courses or keep up on their emails or whatever so you understand what's coming down the road.
Yeah.
Because it's embarrassing if who we work for, if they ask us, hey, do you know how to do this? And we say, we don't know what you're talking about.
or they know more about than you do.
Yeah. And we're the ones that's supposed to install it and show the homeowner how to use it. So,
right.
Yeah, you have to stay up on that stuff.
I bet. Let me ask you this. What was one of the toughest decisions that you had to make as a business owner? What comes to mind?
Well, a lot of times it's just whether you should stay in business or not.
Yeah.
How far in the hole are you going to go before you decide to either put your head down and keep on going or close the doors? And obviously we've never decided to close the doors.
Sometimes you have to hunker down a little bit though, weather the storm. And just know that storm will pass eventually.
It always does.
It always does. I had a gentleman on here, one of my really good friends. He was a realtor, and I asked him this question, and he agreed with me in his profession. So I'm going to ask the same question to you, okay? Mm-hmm. Because we also deal with it in our business as well. What I've noticed is in business, as an entrepreneur, you go through, like we talked about, your ebbs and flows. You have your highs and your lows, right? And so when you pick up a new customer, a new client, or you have an uptick in revenue, right, that comes into your business, I notice that things come in bunches, and then when you go through a dry spell, it's a dry spell for a while, and then when it comes back, it comes on like a gangbuster a little bit.
Yes.
It's never this even flow all the time, and I think that uncertainty in the market is what can create a little trepidation for business owners, especially those that don't have the experience, and realize, hey, this is just a hurricane. It's going to pass. It's going to go through in a couple of days, or in this situation might be a couple of weeks or maybe a month or two. But having the business acumen and the understanding to know that this too will pass.
Yes. And the tough times, actually, I don't want to say I invite them because I don't by any means, but sometimes the tough times, they make you get a little bit sharper.
They do.
It makes you look at what you're doing to see if you can make some improvements. It makes you go out and actually start to talk to more people in the industry, which you wouldn't have normally talked to. And maybe you're going to pick up some work because of that.
Sometimes what I do, and I don't know if you do this as well, but when I go through those lull moments, right, and I don't have a lot of time, I like to like you said, sharpen your tools, but also internalize my business in a sense and saying, should I make some changes internally in here? Is the customer experience the right way? Is there a better way we're doing this? And while we don't necessarily receive an immediate feedback loop, right, as far as more revenue hitting our books, you're still working on your business, and you understand that, like I said before, it's about the end game. And so because it's about the end game, you continue to work diligently. And I think the key is, one of the key elements I always like to say is motivation is great, but discipline is where it's at, and being consistent.
Yeah, consistency for sure.
Right? How do you stay disciplined enough to know that when you have a lull moment, you still need to work just as hard, you just work a little differently? Mm-hmm. Certainly there's times that you need to recharge your batteries and things like that, but staying disciplined enough to stay consistent and keep working on your business, because when you're busy, right, churning a lot of revenue coming in, you really don't have time to work on your business at that point. So when we go through busy seasons during tax season, it's real difficult for us to focus on the marketing or how our optimization of the firm is doing during that time. It's during our non-busy seasons that we start focusing on that, to try to every tax season or every business cycle, we try to do a little bit better. I'm sure that's something that you have to work on and internalize as well in your business.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just realize that it's a constant evolvement, and it's a never-ending evolvement that you always are looking for ways to improve.
And sometimes when things get slow, it's our relationship with the contractors sometimes gets stronger, because we'll go in and say, hey, what can we do to help you guys improve your business, which in turn makes our business better. Yeah, yeah. So it gives you an opportunity to go spend some time with those guys and come up with a plan.
Yeah. Brad, I'll tell you, there was, I don't know, so many years ago, it was probably 6-7 years ago, I got called on a radio station, and this guy had interviewed me, and he said, Jake, what would you say was one of the biggest things that was the reason you're so successful in what you do? What makes your firm different than somebody else? And I sat there for a second. Caught me. I mean, I wasn't pre-scripted, nothing. It was just a completely off-cuff question. And I sat there and I said, well, compliance is compliance. Tax returns are tax returns. The numbers flow up into the return as a representation of what happened in those businesses or for that individual. I said, the thing that sets us apart is, I would say we just care more.
Yeah.
And when you care more and people feel that you listen to their stories, you're a problem solver in a sense. You're a value add individual where you're trying to add value to their life in that regard. I'm sure in your perspective, when you're building these pools, you want to give them the best experience for the most money that they've spent. So when everything is done, they don't resent you or resent what they did in their backyard. They go, man, this is my sanctuary. I can go back here in this backyard and I can just relax.
Oh, yeah.
And I love this scene every evening when I'm looking off my porch or anything like that. And I mean, that's pretty gratifying knowing that you've helped improve somebody's life. You've added value to their life in that regard.
Oh, yeah. And if you add value sometimes and don't charge for it.
Yeah.
It's an unexpected bonus for the homeowner.
Yeah.
Or the pool owner in the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I think Brad's the same way with Sapphire Pools is he's going to go that extra mile. He actually, excuse my French, he gives a shit. He cares. He wants to make sure that experience is worthwhile to the end user. And I think that's evident in him being in business for as long as he has, and the success that you and Mary have achieved is you're willing to go above and beyond because it's just doing the right thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what matters the most.
Oftentimes, again, we talk about doing pool schools. We're not required when the school's done to give our personal information to the homeowner. But the vast majority of times we give our information to the homeowner. So if they have questions, if they have concerns, they call us instead of calling the pool builder and taking their time. So they'll call us and say, hey, my water's doing this, or why is this system operating like that? And we'll walk them through all that.
Sure.
And anyway, that makes the experience much nicer for the contractors and for the homeowner. They got somebody else they can call.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. How do you stay motivated and innovative in a competitive industry? I know you said you look at continuing education, you look at all the different stuff, but how do you stay motivated though? Like, that's tough sometimes in business, because, we're talking 15, 20, 25, 30 years that, how do you stay motivated for that duration? That's tough.
Number one, I don't want to say you have to be in love with what you do. Some people, I hear people say that and I just scratch my head. Of course, I enjoy what I do.
Sure.
I enjoy meeting new people all the time. I enjoy when a pool's built in somebody's backyard and we're doing a pool school and they have kids and their kids hadn't been able to swim until we showed up and kind of gave it our blessing, and turned the pumps on. Yeah. And seeing the kids jump in and just having a blast. Mm-hmm. I mean, those things, that's motivating.
It is. I view it as this. This is what I always say is, when I first started in business, it was always the end goal, right? I would always look at things and go, well, if I accomplish this, then we'll have this. And if I do this, then we'll have this. And then I realized along the way that I was going to exhaust myself and I had to embrace the journey, because it's the ups and downs. And I think when you start reflecting, and I've been doing this for going on 20 years now, as a business owner, and not quite there, but going on there. And I think that I can sit back over that time frame and I can analyze, when I started, how I ran the business then, how we're evolving. Am I happy with the journey, right? Yeah. Does it put a smile on my face? Even though the tough times, and we all go through that in business, right? You got to embrace the journey because life is so short. Mm-hmm. And it's not, you're not going to sit here and go, well, was able to buy this car, or I was able to buy this house. It's the journey. It's the life experiences with your customers, with your clients, with the people that you influence and the people that you changed. I think really is what warms the heart. It does for me. And that's how I stay motivated, is embracing the journey and the blessings that you have from it.
And not to downplay the motivation is making money Also.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
That's a big part of it.
It is. It is.
You know, if you're successful, it allows you the lifestyle.
Sure. Yeah.
To be able to take your family on really nice vacations and drive, you know, nicer vehicles and. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, it's just the opportunity, right? I think I always take it as that's a blessing because God bestowed that opportunity with you, and He could have bestowed it with somebody else, and He bestowed it with you, and to be able to have that opportunity and make the most out of it, it is just so rewarding to me. Let me ask you this: what advice would you give someone looking to start a business in a creative or even a construction-based industry?
Number one, know you have to work hard.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat up and you got to be able to stand back up. And again, you have to have a good support system around you. I mean, there's just anybody that I know in this industry and just about anybody I've ever talked to, and we meet a lot of people, you know, good grief, we probably do hundreds of pool schools a year. So we go in people's backyards, and there's a lot of successful people that we do work for, and we spend time with them. And everybody always says, and I'll ask people, what made you so successful? And it's the majority of the time it was my team. And so if you're looking to start a business, you know, again, know you're going to work hard. There's been a lot of sacrifices. And you got to have a good team. You got to have people you can rely on.
You do. The first thing that came out of your mouth was hard work. I love that because I think a lot of people think there's this misconception out there that business owners don't work. You know, there's nothing further from the truth.
It's 7 days a week.
It is. There's no days off in this. There really isn't. And but I would say this, it's so rewarding. I wouldn't do anything other than this and being an entrepreneur. With that being said, hard work will overcome talent any day. And I think all too often, people who are very talented in whatever they're doing, you sometimes shortchange your success because you rely so heavily on your talents. And if you want true success, you've got to work hard. You got to work your ass off. I mean, that's just, I hate to use strong language, but I want people to understand that it's tough. Okay. You're going to make mistakes. I'm a sports guy, so I always say Tom Brady goes into a football game. He knows he's going to throw some interceptions. The hope is he's just going to throw more touchdowns than he throws interceptions. Okay. And then that's a success. So same thing for business. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to lose on jobs. You're going to lose on certain things. You're going to waste your time. We all do, right? It's having the wherewithal and the perseverance to push through those barriers.
Yes.
And not succumb to the peer pressure that's around you. You know, I can't tell you how many times that over the years I was building my business and, you know, friends would go down to spring break party somewhere when I was a lot younger. And I go, I can't do that. I'm in the middle of tax season.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get spring breaks. Or then later on when I had kids and, you know, we're going to go on a spring break vacation. I don't get spring break vacations. I've worked during that time.
Yeah.
You know, certain holidays people are off and I'm like, or like Labor Day. I don't get Labor Day off. We're fixing to file our corporate taxes during that time of frame in September. There's certain things that you have to let go and just realize that, you know, you're not going to get that immediate gratification to be able to do those things. And it's those sacrifices that you have to make, but it makes it well worth it. And I appreciate it so much more. And I wouldn't change it for anything. And I'm sure you feel the same way that you've had to sacrifice a lot of things. You talk about family and everything else there.
Yeah, and in our business, in the swimming seasons, people always promise you'll be swimming by 4th of July. You'll be swimming by Labor Day. Your pool will be up and running for Thanksgiving. So when you have all the family over. And so for all the holidays forever, that's when we're the busiest.
Yeah.
And so we don't typically get to take time off like everybody else.
Yep.
That's when we're out there working to make sure expectations are met and people's dreams are met. And so, yeah, that's a sacrifice, and it's hard to do. That's part of the hard work. And then believing in yourself that you're doing the right thing. And anyway, you can get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes though, you do feel like you're on an island by yourself out there sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And it gets lonely, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And when you have a supportive spouse, that certainly helps out. Yeah. But even then, sometimes you're out there and you're grinding and you're doing everything. And, if you're on social media and you see someone on Facebook, or you see someone and they're like, wow, they're on another vacation, and you're like, you're still grinding 7 days a week. But it's embracing the grind, and it's just something that I know I wouldn't move off of, and I know you're the same way, Brad. You wouldn't change it. Yeah. I mean, I think that just defines who we are as individuals, So, but I think it's great. Let me ask you this: if you could go back and do one thing differently, one thing at all, what would that be?
Well, the life work balance, and I've thought about this many times. I don't know necessarily what I could have done differently, but that's something I would have liked to have done differently. Mm-hmm. And that's something I just worked on all the time. Like we're talking about, just the hard work, having to, not being there for special occasions. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's just a sacrifice I made, and I wish, regardless, I get teary talking about that thing.
I understand, yeah.
So, a lot of years.
Yeah. But your kids are now involved in the business.
Yes.
And that's got to be a proud dad moment. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing nice about it is we get to stay in contact, and we have something in common and something we can talk about, which leads to other things.
Yeah. I love that. You know how many small business owners, and I have a daughter, she's 16. I have a stepson, he's 11, and I don't think they're going to follow in my shoes. I wish they would, I wish they would, but every individual is different. Maybe they will come around, but I know you sacrificed a lot early on, and I can hear it in your voice, and I can tell, and that just shows the type of man that you are, and I can appreciate that, and I understand that as a father myself. But you, like I said, you've got to have. It's got to be rewarding to know that now they're kind of following your footsteps and getting into the business now, and now you have common ground, and
right.
At least it's some type of a good feel at this point.
Yes.
And you deserve that, man. You deserve that. And so,
well, thanks.
It's tough, guys. It's tough. It's tough. You have to sacrifice a lot, and I think what Brad alluded to is sacrificing the time commitments that you have with your family. That's probably the toughest, to be honest. But I think it's going to all work out, Brad. I think it's going to all work out. Let me ask you this: what is your vision for Sapphire Pools over the next 5 years?
My vision is it's a strong company. It's a thriving company, and my vision is I'd always like to keep my fingers in it. Uh-huh. I'm not the type of person that will just. I don't think I'll be able to just retire and walk away and. But I want to see the family involved and taking it over. I mean, that's the vision that I have. And fortunately, the relationships that the people that we work with, the contractors, appreciate what the family does. Mm-hmm. And so it'll make an easier transition as opposed to me just
selling out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would like to see the business continue running for the sake of the employees that we have. I mean, you've got a huge responsibility to their families. They've worked for us for years and years, and you can't just close the doors.
No.
And you want somebody to take over that's going to have a relationship with them and look out for their families.
I want everybody to hear what Brad just said right there. That was very moving, Brad. Obviously, most people would say that, yes, they do want their heirs to take over the business. But when you pivoted from there and you said that you wanted the transition to be smooth, not just for your family, but for your employees.
Yeah.
Because, look, when you work as hard as Brad or myself work, your employees become your family, a secondary family in that regard. Okay. And look, man, it's not bullshit, man. It's true. You put in the time and you work hard by those people, that the success of your organization is not built on one man or one woman. It's built on the backs of everybody that has contributed to that. And the last thing you want to do, because you really do care about the people that work for you, the last thing you want to do is turn your back on those individuals because you care about them as secondary family in that regard.
Yeah, they've been to battle with me. I mean, they've been in the ditches and they've been working hard. They've always stood behind me. I mean, I won't ever let them down.
No. The other thing you mentioned there is, obviously, as we get older, we all know this, we start to slow down. Mm-hmm. But you said, I don't know if I could ever retire. I still want to have my hands in it involved. And he's not saying that from a point of greed or anything. He's saying that from a point of love.
Yes.
Because he loves his business. He loves what he's created. He loves his family is now overtaken that and that part of the succession plan, but he loves the employees and everybody that's contributed, and he just wants to stay involved and not turn his back on his family. And I tell you, when you run across a business owner like that cares about every single aspect of his business, his employees, the customers, I'm going to tell you guys that is very few and far between, unfortunately. Brad, I commend you, and I'm the same way, but you're an outlier. You're not like everybody else, and that is a beautiful thing. And so when you decide you're going to hire somebody in the pool business, I would tell you that right there would sell me 100 times over, man, to be honest with you. Like it's authenticity is what that is. And you don't often find that. You find a lot of businesses, especially those that go into private equity and venture capital stuff, is they scoop up all these blue collar businesses, and that's what they're doing right now. And customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction is going in the toilet nowadays, because it's just a numbers game for them. And you got to think, if you're getting ready to hire two different pool builders, you're interviewing pool builder A and pool builder B. You have to think about it from this capacity. If this person's all about numbers over here, and this person over here is about making sure your job is done right, making sure his employees are taken care of, making sure his legacy is passed down the right way.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to do the better job for you? That's the type of effort that doesn't show up in the numbers. It shows up in the quality of the work. And so that was beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. That really hit home with me. I'm going to pivot there for a second. Are there any new services or innovations you're planning on to introduce?
No, we just like to see the economy grow and get more business.
I like that. Yeah. It's everything we talked about, right? It's just the continuation and continue to evolve. I think we're going through some things are hopefully moving in the right direction. I think you're seeing that a little bit. We're
starting to see it now.
Starting to see it a little bit. There's still a little uncertainty in the market. I'm bullish on it. I'm certainly bullish on it. I'm optimistic. I just hope it continues. I just don't want to toot the horn too early. We've all went through our ebbs and flows and things. Brad, I'm going to ask you one question, and I know we kind of touched on this. This is going to be our final question for today. What does building pools and pool building mean to you personally? How does it connect you to your passion, your purpose? I know we talked early on, and you've talked about your passion that you have with not only being a pool builder, but being leaving your legacy to your children, as well as taking care of your employees as family members. What does it mean to you personally? What is your legacy going to look like? How do you want your legacy to end or to be remembered? And how does that connect to your passions and your purpose? That's a lot I just threw there at you. But.
Yeah. I think I would want the business to be remembered as a business that took care of the people that we built pools for, And when they're out enjoying their backyard, that from time to time they might remember us. That hey, these guys did a great job.
Yeah.
And if we need them, we can always call them. We know they're there for us. And I think, as far as passion goes, I mean, like I say, that is my passion. I like to see people happy. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see people happy more than I like to see myself happy.
I understand. Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes me happy, is to see a smile on people's faces.
I love that. Guys, I want to thank you again, Brad, for coming on the show today. Thank you, audience, for listening to everything. This was a great interview today, and I appreciate everything that you brought to the table and you were able to share with our guests. If you're looking to get a pool built, this is the guy you want right here. This is Brad Hubbard from Sapphire Pools. I don't know if you felt it, but I felt it today. The authenticity with this man and why he does what he does. I wish more entrepreneurs would be more like Brad. And I hopefully, if you decide to take that leap of faith, an individual like Brad could, at least on the surface, be your mentor. If you're looking for that, let us know. We're happy to help you. Brad, it was a complete honor to have you on the show today. I feel very blessed to have you here. And so thank you for all your contributions today.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Once again, my name is Dr. Jake Latimer, and this was the Entrepreneurial Blueprint Podcast. Thank you all for joining us, and have a blessed day.